Hi, I'm the Handsome Hillbilly, and today I'm going to talk about the Occupy Wall Street movement. Now, their protest says that they want to eliminate corporate greed and crony capitalism. I think what they're really protesting is fairness. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. They say they're so fed up with the greed of big oil and the big financial firms, and they're really sick of corporations getting in bed with government and lobbying government and giving them lots of money so that the government will write legislation that favors their industry or their company. That does happen. And let me take a side note here and tell you, if you want to protest something, go to Congress right now and protest that your congressman or woman actually work more on legislation or the needs of their constituents than they do fundraising. I just read a report that the congressman spends 30 to 70% of his time fundraising. You cannot have a system work well when you have to spend most of your time gathering money for the next election than you do writing legislation and doing the people's business. So that's where I'd actually have them protest first. But should we get away with crony capitalism? Absolutely. Greed? Yeah, maybe. Greed, again, is like fairness. How do you define what that is? I mean, it might be 150% profit margin in one area. It might be 1,000% profit margin in another. But let's take the two industries that they seem to hate, financials and big oil. Big oil has probably the most hated company on the planet, and that's Exxon. Their profit margin, 10%. For every $100 that Exxon actually brings in, they only keep $10. It's not a lot. What about Bank of America? They had a profit margin of -2%. So they lost money. Yes, they did get bailed out. Yes, they gave excessive compensation to a lot of their management, undeserved. Completely agree with that, should not be done. Bailouts, when they were done, I was so against them. However, all of us borrow money. We all have credit cards. We all have house loans. We all have car loans. If we don't have credit, our current system, our current economic system freezes up. You guys do not want that. We might actually have it with Europe, but that's another topic. So let's go to the next one. So those Exxon and Bank of America, most hated, right? What about Apple? I think it's the most beloved corporation on the planet. And yet they have a 24% profit margin. So who's greedy? I think our protests are way out of whack on this. So that's why I think they're actually protesting fairness. A lot of the folks that are involved are unemployed, seem to be younger students. You hear a lot about student loans, a lot of folks that can't find jobs, and the American dream they feel is not going to be theirs to have like their parents and their grandparents. That might be true, but I'm not sure it's because corporations are greedy or because of crony capitalism. I think it's economic systems. I think it's the way the world is catching up to us in terms of their productivity and their production, and we're no longer the dominant economic power as much as we used to be. We still are, but not as much. China, India, a lot of the developing nations are coming right on. So what do we actually do with this fairness issue? I don't know. Fair is such an easy term to define in the context of business. A buyer tells a seller what he's willing to pay for the seller's good. If the seller says, yeah, I'll accept that, then both of them say it's fair. That happens when you go to the grocery store. That's why you go from, if you don't like shopping at one car shop, you go to the next car shop, and if he's got a great car that's at a better price or the same car at a better price, you buy that. That's how it works. Yes, it does get gummed up when you have crony capitalism and lots of rules that were written to protect certain industries and organizations. But fairness is actually defined best in an economic system. My kids, when they actually say, hey, that's not fair. Let's take Christmas. Let's say Christmas. You know, Johnny got more than Jane for in terms of Christmas presents. They don't actually mean fair. They mean equal. Johnny got 5 presents. Jane got 7 presents. Johnny's unhappy because he was shafted too. I think that's what the issue is. So let's talk fair, because I get so bent out of shape with the American public when we talk about being fair. The world population is 7 billion. 7 billion people. The American population is 320 million. So we are 4% of the population. On the Occupy Wall Street right now, you hear about this, we are the 99. Well, guess what? In the world, we are the 1%, kind of. I mean, we're the 4% to the world, right? The world is 96% of the population. America is 4%. And we are absolutely, without fail, the elite in every economic term. Amount of income that we make, the number of consumer goods that we have, households owning their own home, number of automobiles, electronic gadgets, everything. We are absolutely elite. But here's the most damning piece, at least for me. 3 billion people, almost half of the world, lives on less than $2 a day. That's $730 a year. In America, we spend $1,100 on entertainment. That's not fair. I don't care how you define it, that's not fair. The average American adult makes $31,000 a year, compared to $730 a year to live on for 3 billion people. So when you start to feel sorry for yourself, not you personally, consumer, or viewer, but everybody else, remember those statistics. In terms of charity and what we give, it's even worse, but I'll take that on later. So if we want to actually protest fairness, it's a lost cause. Here's what I would suggest instead. Go to Congress and protest their abuse of their time, which is actually our time, for fundraising when they should actually be doing our business. If you are so concerned with corporate greed and corruption, buy locally. Instead of going to Walmart, go to the local mom and pop shop down the road. Support them. If you hate the big banks, go to your local credit union. They'd love to have you. And then, to be fair to the world, take half of what you're spending on entertainment this year and give it to a charity that goes and feeds the poor or helps educate those in need. That's something to protest about. This world is not fair. And I got a cat that I want to shoot. Shut up. What do you mean I can't protest in this? Man, this is like redneck chic. Look, I've got my button down open. Got my hair going on like the protesters do. It's like James Dean meets Edward Scissorhands meets Bob the Builder.